How did that happen? He just reached out, or
He DM'd me.
Oh,
I think he was looking for an easy opponent that had no fight experience, and he didn't know that I've been training to beat people that don't have experience too. So he just made a mistake in his choice. And because before me, he fought Vinny Hacker, who was way younger than him, had zero boxing experience. Deji was boxing for like a year or two at this time.
Yep.
So he chose that guy. And then I think Deji thought, oh, this guy will be easy. I fought Jake Paul. He's not Jake Paul. It'll be easy. And so he really didn't he let himself go for that camp thinking, this will be easy. I don't have to train.
Yeah.
And then he lost because he gassed out. He was winning up until that. And I remember sitting there watching, and I was telling all my friends, oh, Deji's going to wipe this guy. He's going to destroy this guy. It'll be easy.
Yeah.
And then in the first round, it looked like what I said was going to happen. And he got gassed out, and like Vinny, like he didn't do great. He just looked a lot better because Deji gave up. Yeah. So then a little time passed, and he DM'd me. He's like, yo, you want to fight? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, cool. This is the weight. This is when. Get ready. I was like, okay. And then that was like 6 months before we had to fight. I was like, okay. So I just figured it out. Just went to a gym down the road. And I was like, teach me. And they're like, okay. And I've always been athletic growing up, and I knew that he was comedy gamer. He just video gamed his whole life. So I felt like, oh, he has 2 fights. I have 0 fights, but it'll probably even out. And it did. I got to the fight. Whole country was against me.
Oh, I know.
was getting egged. Yeah, you came.
I know.
We were better friends at the time. I was like, you should come. And you came with Marlon. Fuzi came. My brother came. Jake came.
Yep. I remember everywhere I went, fans, quotes, fans would, I remember when I checked in the hotel, someone came up to me to take a picture. Hey, guava juice, take a picture. I'm like, all right, now say, Alex is a pussy. I'm like, dude, I just got here. This is what you're dealing with.
I didn't know it was gonna be like that either.
Yeah.
The U.S. audience fans and the UK fans are completely different. Yeah. Like the US fans, they'll boo you, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The UK fans, they'll find you on the street. They'll egg you. They'll
Dude.
Like pretty much just not terrorize, but like just I don't know the word.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Of what they do.
If they know where your hotel room is, they'll come and they'll bang on the door at 3 a.m. so that you can't sleep.
That's hostile.
You know, it got so crazy. We got egged, right?
Yes.
And then they tried to pick up the metal barriers and break the hotel window because we wouldn't let them in, or like the guards wouldn't let them in. That's how crazy they were. And then sometimes I would be like, I just want to get some fresh air. Nobody's around. I just walk through the lobby and I would go outside. And when I'm walking through the lobby, I can see it's all glass. I see people on bikes with walkie-talkies, and they're like, "He's here, he's here, he's here!"
Dang.
And then just people just swarm the front, like they were just sitting around waiting, and they were in communication with each other.
That's insane, bro.
And then they would come to the front and just be like, yeah, and I couldn't get out, and I was like, "All right, well, I guess I'm ordering."
Dude, I've never felt so much in danger other than that time in my life. I was like, "Oh my god, dude! If I get stabbed, this will be the weekend I get stabbed." Like I felt that was how. I felt not safe.
Yeah. That organization, Showstar, they were doing everything they could to make sure Deji won.
Wow.
Yeah, they were doing everything. I got there, I had the tiny hotel room, and I was like, I'm the main event. Why do I have a tiny hotel room?
Yep.
I go downstairs, and I ask if I can upgrade my room. They say the last upgraded room was taken by Deji.
Wow.
And so he had a huge room. He had enough room to hit pads in the room. He had just like, it was nice. And I was stuck in this tiny room.
I remember.
Yeah.
It was so dark.
So little. And then the only place we could go hit pads was in one of the little conference rooms. I was like, hey, Showstar, can you provide us with space to hit pads? They're like, okay. They gave us this little tiny room.
Yep.
And like, you were there? You remember that?
I was there.
Yeah.
And they were giving you trouble getting it too.
Yeah.
They're okay, I guess.
Yeah. It was rough. And then we went to every time I went anywhere, they were like, oh yeah, we'll get you there. And then I went to the weigh-ins, which is right across the street. It's like 200 feet away from the hotel door. Yep. And we went to the weigh-ins, me and Deji, the main event, weighed in, the whole crowd's booing me, the whole crowd's throwing stuff at me. We weigh in, whatever, and then they start transporting all the fighters from the thing to the hotel. So they
Yeah.
have bodyguards, and they hired the bodyguards for this event.
Sure.
And the bodyguard would escort one fighter, escort another fighter, escort like 2 fighters at once.
Yeah.
And then I was the last one, and they said, "Hey, wait, we'll take you at the end because you're getting the most hate." I was like, "Okay, cool." It comes up to my time, and they're like, "Okay, let's go." One of the workers at Showstar, and I was like, wait, where's the bodyguards? And then they're like, "Oh, they quit." And I was like, "What? Wait, what?" I was like, "They quit? What do you mean they quit? What? They were just doing their job and they just decided to quit when it's my turn to go across?" And they're like, "Yeah."
That's sketchy,
Yeah,
bro.
so-
is that when we got egged?
Yes.
When we
Yes.
because there were no bodyguards
Yeah.
protecting us.
And they quit. They quit. I'll explain that later. So then I freaking am walking across. We're getting water balls thrown at us, rocks thrown at us, eggs thrown at us. Me and my friends are getting egged. And like, then everybody goes into protective mode. My coach puts my head down and just starts pushing me forward. And I was like, "Oh." And then I was like, "Wait, my friends." And he's like, "No, you got to get you out of here. This is why it's happening." I was like, "Okay." So then we got in the hotel, and then I was like, "What?" And then people were like breaking in, like coming through. People were holding them back, like, "No." And they're like yelling at me. They're like, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you." And I was like, "What is going on?" And I get to my hotel room, and I actually became friends with one of the bodyguards.
Yeah.
And I DM him. I was like, "Bro, what the f-?" And then he texted me and said, "Yo, we randomly got fired." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "We're in the middle of transporting people, and the Showstar fired us." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I don't know why. They didn't tell us. We're assuming it's a racial thing, but we just got fired. I'm so sorry. I heard what happened to you. I saw all the things. We should have been there." And I was like, "What?" And then I didn't see them again for the rest of the event. I think it's because they were helping me and they wouldn't comply to what Showstar wanted.
Whoa.
Crazy, right? This is the first time I'm saying this, but I'm just telling the truth. So
Yeah. I remember I have the video of us walking.
yeah.
And you and your coach just covering your head to
Yeah.
protect you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was because they got fired.
Yeah.
Like mid-job.
Yes.
When it was your turn.
Yes.
That's so sketchy. What?
They just knew that their cash cow was Deji. If they could get Deji to win, it's their first event as a new, like, whatever. So they're like, "We need Deji to win because he's from there. All the fans are there for him. If he wins, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to blow Showstar up."
Yep.
So then,
I did not know that happened behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I just thought it was just like they hated you, they hated US. I didn't know it was like a security guard issue.
Yep.
It was like rigged. They're trying to rig, like you
Yes.
said. They were trying to rig it.
yes.
Wow.
And you know who was the only nice person to me? The only group of people that was nice to me throughout the whole thing when we were off camera.
What?
Deji and Coach Daly.
No
They were
way.
so nice. Like, there was a couple times where, like, we were at the same hotel, so we would end up eating at the same place, and we'd be like, "Oh, really? You guys are here?" And they're like, "Yeah." Or we'd be at a restaurant down the street,
Yeah.
and they just happened to be there.
Yeah.
Super nice off camera. I think they felt bad because they knew what I was going through.
Yeah.
They knew the whole country was against me.
Damn.
They knew it was my first fight. They knew that everybody was trying to make me crumble before I even get in the ring.
Yeah.
So I just had bad sleep that whole week. I was getting egged that whole week. I was getting sabotaged the whole week. Then fight night comes.
Yep.
And I get to my locker room.
What? Oh my God. There's something in the locker room?
Yeah. I get to my locker room. My locker room has, my TV's not working. I was like, so I couldn't see what was happening. Everybody else's TV was working. I couldn't see what was happening outside. I was just kind of waiting for hours. And then my heater wasn't working. They put me in the locker room with the only one where the heater wasn't working.
So it was
I think there
cold.
might have been a couple of other rooms, but the main event was put into a room that had no heater. And every hour or so, they would send somebody to come look at it. They would come and tap it and be like, I'll come back. I'll work on that. And then another person would come back, it's not working. I don't know. So I'm in there shaking. I'm cold.
I remember it was cold and
Freezing.
raining the whole weekend.
Freezing in
Yes.
my room.
In your
was
room, I can't
freezing.
imagine.
And I was like, and I'm just waiting for my
What?
turn to fight. And then I had like the fights happening on my little phone, and I'm just shaking. My coach and my team are putting towels on me. They're sitting next to me, pretty much cuddling with me, trying to get me warm, and I'm just shaking, waiting to fight.
Yeah.
And then they're finally like, "Okay, your fight's coming up. Time to warm up." I was like, "Oh, okay." So then finally I'm moving around. I'm like, okay, I feel better. And then time for the ring walk.
Yep.
I walk out there. I'm pretty sure it was like 15,000 people.
Yep.
Every single body in that arena or stadium, whatever, was against me.
Dude, I remember you asked me to walk with you. I'm like, oh God. This was like after we got egged. I was like, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm scared, but I'm act tough.
Yeah. It was crazy, right?
It was everybody.
Yeah.
I have never heard the word boo
Yeah.
as loud as I did in that arena.
And I turned those boos into oohs and ahs. So when I was in the ring, it was crazy because I've been through so much in that week leading up to this. I'm like, finally, I'm in the ring. Finally, let's just get this done. And then we start fighting, and nobody. Every time nobody would cheer for me.
Yeah.
All I ever heard was boo, and the only time I heard something else related to me that wasn't boo was ooh or oh, and that's what I was targeting. I was like, every time I hear that, that's what's gonna fuel me.
Yeah.
So I was like, boom, land something. I would land something, and they're like, oh, and I was like, yeah, that's mine.
Yep.
And then he would swing, and he would miss, and they'd be like, oh, and I was like, that's mine. And then there was one point where I've never been in a boxing fight.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that I like to talk in there. Yep. And there was a point where we're in the middle, and I'm kind of like feeling it. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, this is what it's like. Okay. I don't see the people around me. It doesn't matter. It's me and this guy. And they were like, Deji, Deji, Deji. And we're looking at each other. And I was like, they're cheering your name, not my name. What are you going to do about it? And he was like, what? And I was like, they're not cheering Alex. Come on, show them something. And then he like shot a jab, and I blocked it. And then I was like, do it again. And then he was like, what? I was like, do it again. And he did a jab. I was like, boom!
You baited him?
Yeah, I baited him. And when he threw it out of anger, I was like, ah! And you could see he's like, poof. If I look back at the footage, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But and then a fan ran into the ring.
I remember that.
That was crazy. I thought I was gonna get stabbed.
Yeah. I was confused.
Yeah, you can see that I'm completely focused on Deji. And when that fan runs in behind me, I see Deji just kind of put his hands down and look. And I was like, what? And then I saw like a figment in my peripherals, and I was like, oh, I'm about to get stabbed. So you see me jump, and I face the guy immediately.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh, who is this?
Yep.
And then he's talking. I can't hear what he's saying. And then a coach, I think it was Leon or somebody from Deji's team, picked this guy up and threw him out of the ring.
Yep.
And then my friend grabbed him and threw him to the ground and like punched him. And then it was crazy. And I was like, what? And then the first thing that popped in my head was, oh, is Deji okay? And I look at Deji and I'm like, are you okay? Because like so many things happening. I didn't know if he like was going after Deji, if he was going after me. And Deji's like, I'm good. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I kind of relaxed, and I was like, okay, do we still fight? And then I was like, what do we do? And then they like gave us like 5-minute rest because they had to calm the crowd down. They had to calm down. They're like, if anybody does that again, we're going to have to end the fight. And then it was pretty much like starting the fight over again.
That must be nice.
I got a feeling for what he wanted to do, what like his speed, his power. In the first round, I was like, oh, I'm about to mess this guy up. But I just couldn't catch him. He was running. He was running.
I remember.
We went on a super far boxing tangent.
yeah. No, it's fine. This is your first boxing experience. It's
was
special.
crazy.
It's hostile.
Yeah. And then, so I'll just skim through the boxing stuff.
Yeah.
So then I won. Oh, then KSI. Then I made a video for KSI saying, because he made a video how disappointed he was in his brother, how his brother, like, blah, 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 just talking down to his brother pretty much. So I made a video defending Deji. And I was like, yo, what, you're not being a big brother, like this is like blah blah blah, like you should be encouraging him, you should be supporting him, you should be there for when he's down, not kicking him when he's down, stuff like that. And I posted it, and KSI didn't like that. He super didn't like that. He was like, it's my brother, I can do what I want, stuff like that. And then I got shocked by something.
What?
I knew KSI. I expected KSI to respond. That's cool.
Yeah.
Deji DM'd me, and in the message, he pretty much, just to sum it up, was thanking me. He was like, nobody's ever stood up for me against KSI like this before. Thank you so much, and stuff like that.
Aww.
He also sent me a voice message after our boxing match, and it was the nicest thing ever. I was like, wow, like that's what made me just freaking, I love Deji.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he's just a great guy. He's so just like kind, and he's just a really good guy. And I didn't know that until after we fought.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that was all an act. And he was just doing, it was like WWE. He was just like building the story. I didn't know. It was my first boxing match. I didn't know he was doing that. I thought he really hated me. But KSI actually did hate me.
Yeah. I know that for sure.
So then he was like, fight me. I was like, if you come to my weight class, I'll fight you. Before I fought Deji, I was 160.
Yep.
And then he wanted me to fight at 170. I was like, okay. So I went up 10 pounds. One of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life.
Okay.
And then KSI was like, oh yeah? You fought at 170? Fight me at 180. And I was like, dang it,
You just kept going up?
I was like, God, I don't know if I can. 70, like, to weigh in at 170, I had to chug a gallon of water on the way to the scale to make weight for that. So he wanted me to go up another 10 pounds. And I was like, but it's such a great opportunity. I was going to get paid very well. I was like, all right, let's go.
Is it harder gaining weight or losing weight?
I think it's harder gaining weight just because losing weight, you can lose water weight. You can just run more. You can take saunas.
Yep.
Gaining weight, you have to actually like build. You have to eat. You have to lift. You have to build something that doesn't exist yet.
And he just kept going up and up.
Yeah. So then I couldn't, I got up to like 176.
Yeah.
And this was like 3 or 4 weeks before the fight. And I was like, oh, thank God. It was so hard. I couldn't run as much as I wanted to because I had to keep weight on. Yeah. And I think the rule was I had to be within 5 pounds. So 175 was my limit. In order to get used to fighting someone heavier than me, with small gloves, I had to fight someone even heavier than him with big gloves. So I was naturally 160. I'm at 175 now, fighting 200-pound guys.
Jeez, that's way too much.
Yeah, so I had to, even 190-pound guys, it was a huge difference. But he was going to rehydrate to like 190 and have 10-ounce gloves. Yep. So I had to get used to it. And so it was just like, go, just sparring all the time, getting hit. And one of my punches was like 3 of their punches. I would get hit, and I would literally see what cartoons see. Like, just stars? Lights, stars, like Tweety birds. I was like, boom. And then I had to go into protection mode for like 10 seconds to regain myself. And after that, it got to the point where
that's brutal,
I was just doing that a lot. And then one day I woke up and I was just throwing up. And I was like, no, I'm like a month out from my fight. I have COVID, dang it. And I was dizzy. My head was hurting. Lights were hurting. Sounds were hurting. I was like, Yep. And so I was like, okay, I'll just wait it out. COVID only lasts a couple days, or like it's only bad for a couple days, and then it's contagious for like this long. So I couldn't go to the gym. So then another day came, it didn't get better. Another day came, it didn't get better. I took some COVID tests, it came back negative. I was like, what? So I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, what's happening? How long has it been happening? What is this? What is that? And I was like, oh, I've been doing this. This is the symptoms. I've been throwing up randomly. And he was like, I'm pretty sure you have a concussion. And I was like, what? And he was like, you have a concussion. And I was like, but my brain doesn't hurt. And he's like, your brain doesn't have any pain receptors. It wouldn't hurt. If you have a concussion, it's damage to your brain, but you wouldn't know.
Like, no, yeah.
You just got to look at the symptoms. Yep. And I was like, oh. And he's like, but I'm a schedule an MRI or a CAT scan or whatever the machine that they put you in. He's like, just to check for internal bleeding. And I was like, okay. And then I called the promoter, and I was like, hey, so I have a concussion, but the doctor said, he said it might be, but we're going to do some other tests. And then the guy was like, that means you can't fight. And I was like, what? No, what? I feel fine. I'm just throwing up a little bit, but it's like getting better every day. Yeah. And he's like, no, even when you feel better, you can't fight after having a concussion. You can't fight this close to it. And I was like, I didn't know that. I was like, what? No, wait, what? And he's like,
because you could get brain damage.
Yeah,
if you
he's like, you can't.
Way, right?
He's like, the first one is bad. First concussion is bad, but then it's like, I forgot what it's called. It's like second fatal brain something. Like if you get a concussion on top of a concussion, that's deadly. Yeah. And I was like, so the doctor said, you can't even like train for at least a week. Yeah. And I was like, or he said 10 to 11 days. I was like, okay. So 10 to 11 days pass, and then I go to the gym, and then I had to cancel the fight, and then everybody saw a picture of me at the gym, and everybody started freaking out about it, and I was like, guys, the symptoms started almost 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
But you guys didn't hear about it until like 5 days after that.
Yeah.
So they thought, oh, it's too soon, whatever. But whatever. So that fight didn't happen. Then IDubbbz hit me up. Charity fight. I was like, nice. That's in my wheelhouse. I love doing things for charity. Let's go. Fought him. Beat him. Pretty bad. His face was messed up.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then
Tag team.
Yeah. And then the tag team fight happened. So I'm getting ready to fight Pineda and B-Dave with my friend Nick LMAO.
Yep.
And I started doing a lot of research, but the strategy was I fight Pineda.
Nick fights B-Dave.
Nick fights B-Dave. I'm like, okay, cool. So I start researching Pineda, everything Pineda. My world revolved around Pineda for that fight. And I was looking at his old fights. I was looking at his YouTuber fights. I was looking at his recent fights, everything. And
because he was a pro. He was pro, right?
He was a pro. Yeah. So
exactly.
I've never fought a pro before. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to fight a pro. This is crazy. Like, Deji had 2 fights. IDubbbz had 1 fight. And now I'm about to fight a guy that had 12 fights.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, oh, jeez.
Uh-huh.
So, actually, Pineda replaced me. When I got the concussion, he replaced me and fought KSI.
Ah.
So I'm looking at this footage and something stuck out.
What?
I was like thinking, I was studying, looking at his tendencies, looking at his movements, looking at what he favored to do. And then we got to fight week and I saw him in person. And I was like, what? I thought he was going to be skinnier. And he wasn't as skinny as I thought he was going to be. I was just confused. And I was like, wait, what? So then weigh-ins come in, and I'm there witnessing the official weigh-in, not the on-stage weigh-in, the weigh-in that morning.
Yeah.
So then he gets on the scale, and he weighs in like 165. And I was like, what? I was like, how is he not skinnier? Because he fought KSI at 180.
Yeah.
And so then after the weigh-ins, I went to my room, I did some more studying, and I was like, what is going on? And I looked at pictures of him weighing in here against me, like getting ready. And then I looked at pictures of him during the KSI camp.
Yep.
And he looked the exact same, but he's 15 pounds different. And I was like, how is he 15 pounds lighter, but he's the exact same weight?
No.
I'm not trying to like make any conspiracy theories. For sure. I'm just saying, go look it up for yourself. Go look at footage of him Pineda fighting me and fighting KSI. And do they look 15 pounds different?
I gotta look it up. So
he looks like maybe 2 or 3 pounds lighter.
So you're saying 165 both fights, supposedly. I'm gonna look it up.
I'm not jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, for sure.
You do your own research.
Yeah, I will.
I don't know, but
that's crazy.
That was always weird to me.
Yeah. I have something too.
Oh, what?
We're going back to London. You were in a roll. I didn't want to mess you up.
Yeah.
But going back to how they tried rigging it for you.
Yeah.
They also they made it hard for you to just have a comfortable time, right? Mm-hmm. They also made it hard for your guests that you invited to have a comfortable time. Because I remember when it was me and like all the guests that you invited to London, we had we were supposed to have a specific spot to sit to watch you fight.
Yep.
And it was taken, and we told the guy like, "Hey, they're on our seat," and they're like, "Okay, we got it. I'm sorry, we can't give you a seat. These guys are here. We can't move them. Blah blah blah." And we were just pissed. They made it hard for your guests to do that. I'm pretty sure that's just to f- with you.
Yeah, and I remember that's what locked me. I was locked in after this because I care about my family and friends.
Yeah.
3 hours pass. I'm main event, so I'm waiting till the very end.
Yep.
And somebody comes, one of the workers comes, and they're like, "Hey, you're," or I think it was like a friend or somebody. Yeah. They said, "Hey, man, your friends have been standing for 3 hours."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What? They're supposed to have seats. I'm the main event. How do my like 5 guests maybe not have seats?"
Yep.
And when they told me that, I was like, they're just trying to mentally mess with me now. They know how much I care about my family.
Yep.
And from there, I was like, I'm going to take this guy's head off. I was like, I don't care what happens in there. I'm going at him nonstop. Go. Because of everything that happened to me. And up until then, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do my best. They told me my friends were being messed with. I was like, I was planning on doing the walkout, just normal, like, hey. Yep. I went out, I was like punching my fist together. I was pounding my chest, and I've never been like that.
Yeah.
That's not me. But I was mad. And I was like, this is why I started boxing, to protect my friends. And I'm about to get in there and punish somebody who is one of the causes of what's happening to me and my friends.
Dang.
Yeah.
So their plan backfired on them because they lit a fire on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
So,
last thing I'm gonna say about boxing.
Yeah,
Let's get off of boxing.
It's making me mad.
It's just exciting. I've never been able to tell my whole story. I've always like had podcasts after a fight and talk about that one fight, but my whole story.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to boxing, Misfits, and especially to Deji. I was in a dark place before boxing came into my life.
Yep.
I had no motivation for YouTube. I didn't know the meaning of life. My whole life was wanting to give back to my parents, and I got to that point where I could afford to buy them a house. I bought them a house. I didn't know what to do with myself after. I was like, and then YouTube, COVID, depression, all was hitting me. And I was like, I'm a very social person. I couldn't see anybody for years because of COVID. And Deji reached out, and he was my savior. And boxing pretty much saved me from just I was on a dark path. So thank you, Deji. I love you. Let's run it back.
Hey, that's good. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you two are equally as nice people, because I remember running up to him after the fight. They were at the lobby, talked to him for a bit. He was so nice.
So nice. I know.
He was super nice.
I did not expect it. Yeah, he's just a good guy, just like inside and out. Yeah. I'd love to run it back. And you know why?
That'd be amazing. Why?
Because boxing to me is the closest I will ever get to being in an anime.
An anime?
Yeah. I love anime, and that's the closest I will ever get.
Oh gosh, that's another tangent, bro. We gotta have like an anime specific podcast. We'll just get like an anime voice actor for an episode. Then we have a reason to talk anime.
This is my anime arc.
Okay.
I go to another country, foreign country, never been there before.
Yep, Thailand. Yep.
To the UK, London. Everybody hates me. The whole world's against me. I'm by myself. I have to pull this off. I get in there, a whole stadium, every seat full. They hate me, and then I come out victorious. And then I fight. I fight again. I fight again. The best way to end this anime arc is to go to the very beginning, and I fight the guy that started it with me.
Oh,
and we settle the beef. To me, the first fight, I won, but it was a tie in my head. I got him a couple times, but he was just evading the whole time.
Yeah.
He didn't land anything on me. It was a tie.
Yeah.
Let's settle this, boy. Let's settle it.
Whoa, Deji. That'll be crazy. Deji Alex part 2.
I just want to have his sweat on me again.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. I like that. Comedy shorts sweater.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what you want to do personally, like in the next year. Like, what are your goals?
I just want to provide for my future family. I've taken care of my family. I have enough money saved up. Thankfully, my dad was a very big, good influence on me when I first started making money. I put a lot of money away, started retirement at an early age, 401, all that stuff. And then, so I have enough for me.
Yep.
But I don't have enough for the lives of my kids. I have enough for my kids for a good amount of their lives, but I don't have enough for their college.
Yeah.
I don't have enough for, I don't know how many kids I'm going to have. All their colleges.
Yeah.
I don't have enough for, like, I got to feed them their whole lives until they're 18 at least.
Yep.
And I got to put them to school. There's a lot. And that's my goal, is to just be financially stable, profitable pretty much. Because we've been starting this new journey, and it's been tough. But we believe in it, and we're still going. How long have we been on Wassabi now? Like
6 months.
6 months. So it's still the beginning. We still have a long road ahead of us. That's just the main goal. I just want to take care of people.
Yeah, very sweet. I feel like your life or people's lives is just to take care of other people, specifically ones close to them.
And ones I haven't even met yet.
Oh, true. You have a name for a daughter?
I like unisex names for girls. So, I don't know. August, maybe?
No.
Or Addison.
Oh.
That could be a boy or a girl. Or, I don't know, just A.
Yeah.
Maybe just different forms of Alex.
Dude, for me, I don't know. I just like bird names, like recently. It's probably going to change, because it was Raven last week. Now it's Phoenix.
What about Stork?
Stork.
Stork. Did you clean your room?
No, it's like a crane.
Yeah, or crane.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But Phoenix is pretty cool.
Phoenix is really cool.
Phoenix
for a girl.
How about Roman Phoenix?
Ooh, WWE wrestler.
Oh, is
in
it
the
really?
making? No, it sounds like it.
Oh, Roman Phoenix.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably gonna change. It changes.
Yeah. It's either a
every week.
WWE fighter or a Magic Mike dancer.
For me, it was REI last month. So it changes.
Why REI? Ray?
Just Ray.
Oh,
it's 3
that's
letters.
cool.
It's like me, ROI, but REI.
Oh, and ends. Oh, ends.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
All right, here we go. So to end this off, we're gonna play word association.
Yeah.
I dig deep into your past, and your history.
Oh no.
So I'm
nervous.
gonna say some words, and you have to tell me what they mean.
Okay, I feel like this is a long podcast, so I'll try to do it quick. Go.
All right, ready? Traffic cone.
Me and Roy were flirting with these 2 girls when we were very young, and they were hiding behind a corner, and I was like, Roy, they're behind that corner, I bet. And I ran up to them. One of the girls didn't realize I was as close as I was, and she turned the corner, threw a traffic cone to scare us, hit me right in the eye.
Your first concussion.
My first concussion. And I remember like being out of it, and the cone, the point of it, hit me right in the eye.
Yup.
Boom. And I got up, and there's girls around, so I was like, no, I'm good. It's all good. And then I remember you looking at me like,
Yes.
and then I was like, what? And we didn't have mirrors. We didn't have phones back then, so I couldn't look. And then I would be like, guys, it's really fine. And I would look at one of the girls, and she just started bawling.
Dang.
She just crying. She felt so bad throwing the cone. And then I look at the other girl, and I was like, it's not a big deal. But every time one of you looked at my face, you'd start crying. And I was like, is my eye gone? What? I knew it was swollen shut.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was that bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It's fine. It's fine, guys. Don't worry about it.
We were like 13 or something.
Yeah.
And then I remember going back to see my dad, and my dad was like, whoa, what happened? And I was like, I'm fine. And he was like, did you pass out? And I was like, for like a couple seconds. He's like, did you go unconscious? And I was like, yes. He's like, then we have to go to the hospital. And I was like, why? And he was like, we have to get a CAT scan. You probably have a concussion. And I was like, just because I fell asleep for a little bit? He's like, you didn't fall asleep. You got knocked out. If you didn't get knocked out, we wouldn't have to go to the hospital, but you got to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then he said it was my first concussion.
Yep. So if you ever want to beat Alex in a boxing fight, just throw a traffic cone on his face,
Yes.
dude. You'll
Yes,
get him.
that is my weakness.
All right, next word. Palace Point.
Palace Point. Oh, you're talking about catfish.
The catfish Palace Point. Yep.
When we first started getting popular, people made a bunch of fake accounts, and one of them tricked me into believing she was real.
Yep.
And I was like,
They were talking for 2 months, everybody, online.
I was
He could have been
excited.
talking to an old guy.
And we still don't even know who it was.
I really don't know who it was.
She told me she lived in North Carolina, like 2 hours away, and in between us was this place called Palace Point. And I was like, oh, we should meet up at Palace Point. Me and my family go there sometimes. I was excited. We went out there with some friends and my family, and I was just like nervously waiting for this girl that I've been like bonding with for 2 months.
Yep.
And she kept saying, I'm almost there. Hey, I should be there. Oh, sorry, I'm stuck in traffic. And a couple hours go by, she never showed up.
That's messed up.
And I went home. And then the next day she confessed and said, hey, I'm sorry. I'm not really that person. I just really like your videos. And we started talking, and I got excited, and I just kept it going, and it was all fake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that person. And then I was like, what? And I just stopped talking to that person.
Yep.
I never knew who it was.
A 52-year-old man from Wisconsin.
Possible.
That's
Thanks for bringing that up.
I don't know. It's funny. Okay. You brought it up earlier, but missing tooth.
Yes, I was on a date in Hawaii, and I was paddleboarding, and I was with a group of paddleboarders. We never did it. Me and the date never did it. We were with a group of strangers. It was a beginner class, and we were going down this river in Hawaii, and I was doing pretty good. I was like, wow, I'm pretty good at this. And I was like, I bet I could do a handstand on this paddleboard. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, do it. So I did it. I had the paddle in my hand, and I made a fist with this hand, and I made a flat hand with this hand, and I did a handstand, and they were like, wow. And I was like, hey. And I popped up all confident, and I hit myself in the face with the paddle, and I just saw my tooth fly out and go into the water, into the river, ocean, whatever.
Yep.
And I grabbed my mouth like this. and nobody else saw the tooth. And they're like, what? And I was like, I knocked my tooth out. And everybody laughed. They're like, no, you didn't. And then I showed them, and it was the same face you made when I got the traffic cone. They were all like, oh. And like, oh, oh. And I was like, what? And then the girl's dying laughing. She falls in the water laughing. God. Everybody else is like, oh. And then I was like, oh. And then they're like, I was like, you guys go ahead. I got to like process what just happened. Yeah. So they go ahead, and me and the girl are sitting there, and then she's just laughing.
Yeah. And you're like, it's fine, guys. It's fine. I'm okay, guys. What's wrong?
Yep, that happened.
All right, last word to end this podcast. Well, you can go as far as you want with this word. Princess.
I went to a foreign country.
Yep.
I was talking to this girl. We hit it off. We're hanging out. And then this person pulls me to the side and is like, hey, first time Philippines? Yep. You know this is a third world country?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yep. They're like, be careful. I was like, what are you talking about? And they said, the girl you're talking to, be careful. And I was like, well, I'm not doing any, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, we're mutually hanging out and flirting. Not like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, no. Be careful. I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, look to your back right. I look at my back right. I look at your back left. I look at my back left. There's two big dudes standing in the corner. The area I'm at, the party I'm at, is all A-list Filipino celebrities.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, they're here for just like bodyguard the
party.
The group. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, they're not. They're here for her. And I was like, why? Why? Does nobody else have bodyguards and she has bodyguards?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's not a celebrity. I was like, who? What? Okay. And they're like, that's the princess. I was like a nickname? And they're like, no, she's the actual princess. I'm not gonna tell you which country she was the princess of, but she was a princess, and that's the princess story.
Yep.
That's
and you almost got shot.
I almost got shot.
You almost got shot, but we'll save that to another one.
Yeah, we'll save that. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in, Alex Wassabi. This is nice to have you.
Thanks for having me, Roy Wasabi.
All right. If you enjoyed this podcast, we do every podcast every Monday, and we'll see you next Monday.
Stick around. Wait. Stick around for the next one.
Papa Wasabi coming in.
Papa Wasabi. I'm excited. Okay.
Bye.